who this new Iranian leader is. Who is Ebrahim Raisi?
This is a killer. This guy is an unbelievable mass murderer. He has sanctions on him, and yet the Biden administration is going to be negotiating with him.
This is someone who made sure in the 1980s to wipe out most political opponents. Political, not violent. In fact, they were specifically non-violent opponents of the Iranian Revolution that he led a death commission. That's how it translates. A death commission to kill and execute these people. And along the way, while throwing some off the cliffs, he also was well known for having pregnant women tortured.
We are negotiating with somebody who is under sanctions restrictions from the United States. This is a real problem. And I think that what you're going to find is the Biden administration is going to be in a corner very soon.
This, to me, is a signal from the true Iranian leaders, the supreme leader and his advisors to the U.S. and the world that we believe we can put our most extreme supporters and thugs in place as our president, and still you'll want to deal with us. Still, you'll beg us to join this nuclear deal.
What we're intending to do is to reimpose the constraints that put Iran's nuclear program in a box. The limits on enrichment, the limits on stockpile, the intensive verification measures, all of which were included in the original Iran nuclear deal. Once we go back into that deal, Chris, the idea is to negotiate a follow-on agreement that will make for a longer and stronger agreement.
The United States naively is going to sit at the table with their knees together in Vienna and kind of come up with a deal, and then we're going to come up with a deal after that that's going to really make the first deal better than the first deal that we come up with, which is ridiculous. I don't know that it's naivete rather than gross negligence.
They will try to get this deal done before he technically takes the oath of office in August, because we did the FOIA where they tried to cover up that they were people like Jake Sullivan were negotiating with Ahmadinejad. It's like history repeating itself once again. They didn't like the optics of that, so they tried to cover that up.
Right.
This one they can't change, but they could try to say, well, we did it before he was in charge.
He said the Trump policy of extreme sanctions on Iran will only increase the chances of Iran getting a nuclear weapon. How in the world does he come up with that kind of logic? He also believes, and he said this too, that if we will go ahead and agree to the JCPOA, pretty much what they're doing in Vienna, Jordan, it's the same thing as what happened in 2015. They're not making any changes. The real difference will be whether or not we will cave and lift sanctions on Iran. But he actually said that if we agree to it as it is and we lift the sanctions, we can go back to it at a later date and strengthen it.
The Iranian regime seems to be in control of the negotiations. The Europeans want the Americans at the table. The Americans are rushing to the table. They're rewarding the Europeans and the Iranians with the process, but we're not even talking yet about the substance. And I fear that the substance, there's nothing that we can agree on to move forward if you're trying to deny Iran a nuclear weapon.
As we know, Iran is now enriching uranium at 60% levels. And what we discovered with satellite imagery just in the last 2 weeks is that in Iran, they have discovered that on a particular nuclear site, that Iran is now working on shockwave generators. This is the necessary device to miniaturize nuclear weapons so that you can place them on the head of ballistic missiles. We actually know now they're also doing that in addition to enriching uranium, and their new president says ballistic missiles will not be on the negotiating table.
These are people with blood on their hands of their own people, and we're trying to empower them on the world stage. We want to lift sanctions on them. We want to get more money flowing to that regime, and the excuse is, well, don't worry about him because it's really the Ayatollah. See, they're all over the place. Last time around, it was, we're not dealing with Ahmadinejad. It's Rouhani. That's a symbol by the Ayatollah himself that they are moving in a more mainstream position. They want to engage the world more. Well, this pick couldn't be more the opposite. This is to say, let's just see how far we can push him. and we'll laugh all the way there. The Biden team is trying to put us into this deal with the devil.